Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video, and I'll be honest with you, it's the first recap of the season and I'm already struggling to formulate a thought in the old grey noggin to make it new, fresh and entertaining for you guys that's tuning in and taking time out your day to watch this video, because very little was learned for this game. In fact, I'd argue nothing was learned. It's the exact same stuff. I mean, we're sitting here talking about a draw, a disappointing draw in which we got a new injury. At the start of the season, how did we end last season? With a disappointing draw in which we got a new injury. But we pushed that to one side last season because we said, right, the rebuild's coming, we're getting rid of this, there's going to be a new leadership group, we're going to be much fitter in pre-season because Clement's took shots at Beale's pre-season, he's going to get them running more, it's going to be this, we're going to be a completely different side the next time we come back here. Well, it was the exact same. I mean, 10 of the starting 11 for this game in the restart, the re-thingy, going this, doing this. 10 of the same 11 was here last year. And when I say that sank me to my depths in my core, I was like that guy in Get Out when a wee teacup was smashed. I just fell through the actual thing, sitting here looting like Andy Murray on Christmas, because it completely deflated me, and aye, it just set the tone for the rest of the actual game. And look, I'm not being negative for negative sake. I know people say a draw at Tynecastle, considering what we're going through, isn't the worst result, and you're absolutely spot on, right? Considering the mess we are both on and off the park, going to Tynecastle, playing as badly as we did in parts of that game, especially defensively, opening the door and saying run on and score. The amount of times we've done that, the fact that we've somehow kept a clean sheet, by the way, I don't know how we done that, but grabbed a point for a Hearts side that's firing like kicking off the season isn't the worst result in the world. I mean, I seen Celtic go to Tynecastle on one of the opening days of the season and get beat 2-1. John Souttar scored a header that day. Probably the last header he got on target. So I know it isn't all doom and gloom and it isn't the season over. It's none of this. It's a very long season. I get all that, ladies and gentlemen, but I need to see a wee bit of light at the end of the tunnel. No false dawns that we're going to be better in 3 or 4 months time, or it's going to take us that. That's what pre-season's for. You know what I mean? August isn't supposed to be the time for bedding in new players, building up fitness and creating chemistry. No, that's the month before. That's why you get players in early. That's why a pre-season is so important, to set the tone. You shouldn't be playing your pre-season and treating games that are actually domestic seasons that could have a crucial say in who wins and loses trophies in the first month of the domestic season. That's no when it's supposed to be. But again, it's just the usual failings of your football club, and it's frustrating as well, because if you said, oh, that's the modern game, everybody did that. No, that's not true. Hearts' Boateng was announced at 11 o'clock today. He played the last 10 minutes versus us, you know what I mean, an hour later. So I'm not really seeing it. You look how many new players that Hearts buried into that squad, threw them into the deep end, maybe subbed them off a bit earlier than maybe they're actually going to be used to when they're actually proper playing, but they got real minutes, they got the opportunity. And then I'm looking at us and I'm hearing the same crappy excuses. Oh, we've got to bed in the players, oh, we need to build up the players, oh, they're not ready to start, oh, they need to learn our style and system. Our style and system doesn't bring success, you know what I mean? Football players should be able to go in the park and actually be football players. Put the ball in the other back in it, keep your back door shut, end a story. All these tactics, all these ideas that apparently getting drummed into them, I'm then watching the game and seeing boys running about daft, and I'm like, alright, that's what the new players aren't up to date with yet. That's what the new players need to learn. I'm just not seeing it, and it's frustrating, as again, I just feel like we run into games and run into seasons with hand tied behind the back. This game, this result might end up being a decent one in a couple months time when we're back up and cooking and apparently firing. Fair enough, but I just feel like it's all unneeded, unnecessary crap that we start our season with a wet squib like that. But again, let's say there's a couple of people watching today's video that missed this game, maybe with work commitments, family commitments, maybe something went wrong and you're tuning into today's video to get a wee update on how the Rangers squad actually played. I would love to ask you, the viewer, on that aspect. If I sat here and said defensively we were our own worst enemy and created several opportunities for the opposition to score, would that surprise you? Defensively we couldn't win a header in the game. Would that surprise? And at the other end of the park, we actually created opportunities in a game we've dropped points in for the number 9 leading this football club, who went ahead and missed them. And again, people say, oh, he was unlucky, hit the post, blah blah blah. You can keep saying it's unlucky, but sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, it's no unlucky. You shouldn't take 5 opportunities to go to then hit the post. There were some clear-cut opportunities, and it's a cutthroat business playing for this club. Do you know what I mean? It's no Every day, it's no middle of the park clubs. It's no just here or a draw's a good result, a draw's this. No, this club used to be a club that was built upon winning things and winning games. A draw used to be seen as a loss to this club, you know what I mean? So the cutthroat nature of looking at a player and saying, oh, he was unlucky on his 5th shot on goal, it's absolute nonsense. What about the other 4? The chance to put the ball in the back of it that changes the game. And I'm not doing a pile on Dessers because, believe it or not, I actually thought his link-up play and that was good today. I mean, some of his touches to create his own opportunities were absolutely brilliant. But again, it's the same stuff. We've not learned. He's good at some things, but not get at what we need him today. Putting the ball in the back of net when we are playing absolutely garbage. Because if he'd done that, we won the game. But it's certainly no on Dessers. Please don't try and say that I'm saying that. But it's a symptom of our issue and the symptom of the problem that's been hurting this football club. Defensively, crap. And offensively, we're not good enough. Yeah, it's been that way for a long time. But where Dessers has been named, I think we need to talk about the midfield as well. And I want to talk about Tom Lawrence for a very brief second. Because if you stay to watch the game recap, because trust me, we'll get there, sorry. It's the first game of the season. There's a couple of thoughts in my mind. Before we actually get there, I want to talk about Tom Lawrence. Because Tom Lawrence, and I mean this with no disrespect, he reminds me, your pal, we've all got one that turns up to 5s, that turns up to 7s, that can't run for damn, but if you hit him the ball in the chest, he brings it down. He can hit it on the half volley, he can hit a beautiful through ball, he can thunder a ball for anywhere as long as the ball is in his vicinity. The second he needs to move, he's an absolute liability. And again, unlike that guy, Tom Lawrence is a skinnier version and he can't move at all. Ever into his feet, you stand and say, oh my god, what a player, what an opportunity. But that laddie was blown 67 minutes into this game. He was done and dusted, but somehow stayed on the actual park. Oh, he's got a goal for it. Aye, he is. If you get him the ball, we're not getting him the ball. And where I look at that position of the park as well brings me to maybe my biggest talking point in that, right? My biggest frustration before we go ahead and get into that. We've got a guy that's just starred at the Euros, that's played really well for his country, that's ripped rearing and raring to go, no being anywhere in the actual building. I'm talking about Hadji. I'm not talking about Cantwell. People can say that. Cantwell's apparently asked to leave and Clement's cut the line, drawn the line. That's fair. I respect that. But again, we're paying Cantwell's wages. He's sitting in the house. But it's more so the Hadji one that doesn't make any sense to me. Where actually is the laddie's no in loan? Oh, he's been linked to Florentina. Oh, links are great, troops, but you know, we're just 3 points away again. I'm not saying the likes of Hadji would change the result like that, but I didn't understand, because we're paying him his wages that are apparently very decent. He's nowhere near the actual building. He's nowhere near the opening domestic game of the actual season. What is actually going on right there? You know what I mean? And again, the potential move to Florentina, he could eventually move. Tav was apparently moving to Turkey. Scott Wright got flew to Turkey twice. He's still in the starting 11. You haven't left this football club till you're actually signed on the dotted line elsewhere and holding up that. I just feel like if we're paying your wages, you should be at least in and around the building and given an opportunity to impact the games of football. And that's my question, man. Where is Hadji? Because when Tom Lawrence was blowing out his arse 67 minutes of the game, I'm looking around like, who are we able to bring on there? I'm not seeing anybody else. But then I'm remembering how much wages, thousands of pounds a week we've got sitting on the couch watching it. Just tidy up, man. Let's just stop beating ourselves. But the rest of the talking points and the rest of the players that I want to mention will be brought up during the game recap. So let's go ahead and dive into it then, shall we? And in the first minute of the game of football, the first person to have a shot in the rebuild, the restart, the refiring of this new season was Lauren Shanklin, as he hit a volley that was comfortably saved by Butland. But Shanklin was up for it, and thankfully Butland had remembered he's got hands and he would need them with how badly this defence played. Because just a couple minutes later, after John Suter gets left in complete dust with a quick 1-2, Penrice actually runs in behind and forces Jack Butland into a very good save that I'm going, oh no, here we go again. John Suter nowhere, Tavernier halfway up the park blaming somebody else. It was absolutely torture to see. That was 8 minutes into the game and I was already wanting subs. Truly, I mean that. And I'm going to be very critical of the defence because I thought Tavernier was really, really poor. Right, he might only be playing, he's just back from an injury, he might only be playing because Sterling's got injured, but Sterling's always injured, you know what I mean? He's had 6 injuries in a year that he's been here. That's when, as a football club, you need to be proactive and bring somebody else in, not be reliant on Tavernier, who looked to an exit a wee while ago and has looked absolutely barking since. February, March, and that actual occasion to rely on him in there. I thought he was really poor today. I thought his passes were really poor. I thought he was a mile off it. The pace of the game, the amount of time that Barron kicked the ball out, and people will fire me stats and statistics of passing accuracy, but he's just trying to get Tav into the game, and Tav's a mile absolutely over it. Tywin are a caravan, and I hate saying this, but I can't sit here and pander and be biased on it. He was rotten the day. He just looked miles off it, especially defensively. And Suter had a better second half, but first half, by goodness gracious, he's understanding what Goldson was going through when Tavernier goes on the holidays and doesn't help back. Suter was getting pulled absolutely everywhere, and again, he couldn't get involved. And Ben Davies ended up getting subbed off in the early into the second half, and he was lucky to make it that long. But again, what we're talking about here, we're talking about Tavernier not being good enough right now, especially defensively. We're talking about John Suter not being the replacement of Connor Goldson everybody thought he was going to be, and Ben Davies not being an out-and-out number one option. Is that a surprise? 10-1. It really isn't for me, and again, that's what makes me sick to my stomach. We still won't do it. Now, we went ahead and got proper, and I really liked that, but again, he's not playing. You know what I mean? The people could say, oh, it's the paperwork of that. Well, how can something get announced at 11 o'clock and play at 12:30, but we can't get ours business done quicker? It's so infuriating. There's probably an administrative reason for that, or someone's going to say, oh, well, it's actually because it's from Dutch football, and this is how it works. If that's the case, fair enough, but maybe didn't drag the arse to announce a guy 2 days before the season restarts. Maybe that will get him in the building a bit sooner, and then that way he can impact the game, because people say, but you kept the clean sheet, why are you picking on the defence? The defence caused absolute chaos if you watch that game of football, because it made the midfield need to drop further back and run and create the gaps and cover players that were just feasting on the defence, so it pulls the midfield back to that. The wingers then had to come back because they needed to get near the midfield. They were getting overloaded, and what left us, well, it was just long ball after long ball after long ball to Dessers, who was up there himself. And again, to be fair to the big lad, he made alright stuff with some of the balls they gave him, but for me, you solidify that centre back spot. You put two centre backs in there that can control the line and know what they're doing, and that sets the tone. That's why it's called a spine a team. I feel like Barron was really good today, and again, no surprise to me, ladies and gentlemen, he's only the new players that actually started. From the 11 that played, there was only one, and who stood out to everyone? It was Connor Barron. I think you've got that with Diamande. Again, wasn't his best day today, but he's got real quality. He was just dragged all over the place, running miles, running rings. I think you sort that defence out, it changes everything, and then we can start getting fuller up the park, and we can keep the shape that maybe Clermont actually is. But we're just not fixing glaring issues, and it's absolutely causing havoc. But I do want to talk about one player, and that's Ridvan Yilmaz, where I'm talking about the defence being a shambles. And if you have made it this late in the video, I am not talking about Ridvan Yilmaz. At least I'm not. I don't know how you feel about the game, but I thought Ridvan was really good the day. Really, really good. One of the few past marks that actually looked up to it, and he's barely had a sniff in pre-season, so it kind of shows, you know what I mean? He's been the second choice to Hefty, maybe getting the game time in, 15 minutes here, and he's came out looking the best out of everybody, in my personal opinion. It was only the defender that knew how to defend. Couple big slide challenges, one of them protecting John Suter, another one protecting Ben Davies, and another one covering for Tavernier as he had to drop in almost a centre-back spot on the occasion. So aye, and he also could have had an assist to a gorgeous ball. So as much as I'm slamming the defence, it's not Ridvan. I thought he was very good. Am I wrong? You can let me know. But back to the actual game recap, we obviously have to talk about our first major opportunity, and to be fair, it's Tom Lawrence. He gets in a bit of a shoulder challenge, does well to win the shoulder challenge, and then he just fires a ball right across the middle, which is the exact thing you're wanting for that player in that angle. But this highlights and underlines my problem once again. Please go back and look at the 9th minute, about 17 seconds in the game. Please go back and watch it if you can, and look what the three attackers on the park actually do. Scott Wright cuts back almost to the edge of the box. Dessers makes a run almost to the edge of the box, and Cortez makes a run almost to the edge of the box. Not one of our attacking players runs into the back post to get a tap in for a phenomenal cross by Tom Lawrence. There's no out and out goal scoring instincts, and that's what frustrates me about Cyril Dessers. That's where he should be, and that's what I feel like we should be having in a Rangers team, and that's what we need if we want to win. He's great at doing this, he's good at doing this, he's a really likeable guy, but I want him in the back post, putting balls in the back of net, no running with Scott Wright outside the box, wanting cutbacks. That's no where I want my centre forward. I want him in there, and I feel like if we have a centre forward in there, he's putting the ball in the back of net, 9th minute in this game, and it completely changes. But again, it's the same stuff. as I've said, last year, year before year, year before year. In fact, last goal scorer that would have probably been there was Cholak, but we punted him at the door for finishing top goal scorer. But after that chance from Rangers, which was really against the run they played, then became the Hearts game over the next 10 minutes, as I still don't understand why they never took the lead. John Souttar gets lost tracking a ball. I think it hits either his head or his shoulder, but it ends up knocking into Vargas. He ends up running through. Now, we do good enough defensively to slow him down, but Ridvan's there to bail out John Souttar. A couple minutes later, Ben Davies just does that run. And it frustrates me, right? Because if you put Davies next to someone that he understands and someone that's got a voice, he actually stays in. But if you didn't talk to Ben Davies, he's like a dug at a park, man. He just wants to run about and chase the football. He just completely comes out of position. It's a free ball in behind it. And again, it's looking like a major opportunity that gets sweated to Shankland. But to be fair, Souttar is there with a vital block that deflects it. Almost wide, but they end up winning a corner for Tavernier. And from their corner, ladies and gentlemen, they end up hitting the bar from Danda, who we spoke about yesterday, being a dangerous player, picking up the pockets and space if we're going to play as badly as we did in pre-season. You saw it right there, but thankfully it hit the bar and went away. But after some severe pressure, again it was self-inflicted by a horrendous defending, Connor Barron gets on the ball, strikes the ball from range around about the 19th minute, which forces a very good save by Zander Clark. Not many people are actually talking about it. I think this is great. It's low, it's hard, it's in the corner. Brilliant save for Zander Clark. Now from the actual corner, ladies and gentlemen, we nearly concede a 1v1 as we try to take a shot, try to play it to Tom Lawrence, it then gets countered and we nearly concede. Just put the ball in the mixer. But after that incident, we're getting pinned in, we're getting pinned in, we're getting pinned in, we're getting chased. One long, beautiful ball to Dessers. He takes it down on the taste. It is absolutely outrageous, and he makes you do this. Go on, lad, just score it. And he's probably won goal of the season already with that phenomenal Bergkamp-esque touch. Thierry Henry touch right on the tip of the taste, bringing it down. He then tries to chip the goalie for City, where 2 yards out whilst the goalie's standing at his line. Again, people could say, oh, the ball was high, just volley it into the ground. He could do it a couple minutes later, but what an opportunity for there. But again, I didn't think many other strikers are actually creating that chance, so I'll let him off with that one because the touch was outrageous, right? But again, the finish, for a couple yards out, just get it on the target and you've scored. But he's tried to chip it. Brutal for there, and he gets another opportunity as we're going to jump about 10 minutes in to the old future, ladies and gentlemen, which is now the past, which is currently your present. After more Hearts pressure, more nervy moments at the back, Ridvan gets on the ball, chips a beautiful ball to Dessers, who does so well to peel away for his man. He brings it down perfectly onto his left foot, he then just fires it straight at the goalkeeper. You're thinking, oh my god, that there was the chance. You've hit that anywhere else apart from where the goalie is standing, you've scored that goal. But again, Dessers seemingly makes the easiest part the hardest part after doing the hardest part and making it look the easiest. Do you see why we've all got grey hair? But skipping over a lot of stuff as we'll be here all day, ladies and gentlemen. There was a possible handball against Connor Barron, as I think it was Danda who tried to cross the ball, or was it Danda that fell over? It might have been Vargas who crossed it. Whoever crossed it, it hits the arm when it's up there. But again, last season, that's a penalty kick. But if anyone was actually paying attention to Willie Collum's stuff that he fired out before the season kicked off, the handball rule has changed. So no, that's no longer a handball. The only people that'll be talking about it will only be Hearts fans, because I'm sure they've probably actually read the rules and the changing the rules. I'll be Celtic fans. But again, no, it wasn't a penalty. Willie Collins made that clear before the season, before the game. So no, we never go away with a handball. This no longer is a handball, and I'll be thankful for it, because again, we might get closer to what football used to be. But getting into half-time, we had Cortez trying to go down the left-hand wing, falling over, looking like he had hurt his knee and sort of limping up the tunnel. And I thought, oh well, we'll not see him again. That is actual brutal. And then I looked up and I seen the second half come out, and I went, oh, the good news is Cortez isn't injured. The bad news is that the game is restarting, because again, it's just no fun to watch Rangers. It's just no enjoyable to watch Rangers right now, because the standard's so bad. There's so many players we know shouldn't be wearing the shirt. There's just something that's wrong that's not been this bad for a long time, in my personal opinion. It's just no gelling. I think we've reached a point where we know A, B, C, D, E, F and G shouldn't be here, but to keep seeing them being here is just creating this divide that's probably no fair on the likes of Claremont and everything like that, because you can only do what's doing. Teams aren't coming in and bidding for a lot of these players. There's not much he can do, so it is a bad situation, and I give him sympathy for it. But again, sometimes I feel like he makes a road for his own back sometimes, especially with his subs. I like Clement as a man, as a guy that comes out, and I think he defends the club very well, and some of the players he's brought in has been alright, but then I see his subs and his tactical decisions, I'm like, what the hell is he actually doing? You know what I mean? It's brutal, and we'll get on that if you stay with the video over the next couple of minutes. But the sub that we never made at half-time ended up biting us in the arse as Cortez somehow came out non-injured, and then after 60 seconds went down injured, looking like he'd pulled it and made it significantly worse, and went off the park with tears in his eyes. So aye, what a great decision from the physio, clearing him to play 60 seconds and do more damage on him. You know what I mean? We're talking about injuries now. We're talking about, it's the first game of the season. Raskin's out for 6 weeks. Sterling's went on missing, and now we've lost Cortez. I thought we were improving. You know what I mean? I thought the pre-season was supposed to fix all these issues. It was Beale's fault. It was Beale's fault. It was Beale's fault. Well, we're 1 game in. There's 3 first-team player injuries. What the hell is going on? But getting back to the old football in action, we had a couple set pieces, Tavernier hits and a couple in-swingers, and Shankland nearly scores every one of them. I should have been saying that as he was playing in a Rangers shirt. I really wish I was, but he was obviously nearly scoring on goals. The second one especially, tried to do it, but it's the exact same set piece routine, and by the third time we tried it, they had about 3 or 4 men at the front post and easily got it cleared. Do you know what I mean? First time, fair enough. Second time, he nearly got them. Third time, maybe mix it up, as they just all stood there and went, alright, is this what they're doing? Let's go ahead and clear it. But aye, after that there was another opportunity as Tom Lawrence beautifully fakes it down to his left hand side. He can't do more with this, man. He chips it right to the back post, and Dessers meets it brilliantly, gets his head on it, hits the bar, then the post. You're like, oh my god, and that's where he's unlucky, because it just shows you, I think Kent's head ends up just getting a slight deflection on it, and I think that's what takes it onto the post and takes it onto the bar, and that there, I'll say, is unlucky. But again, the chances you'd missed previously is unforgivable if you want to go ahead and win league trophies and win league titles and win ugly games. But that there, I don't think he could do much more, and it was gorgeous for Tom Lawrence. Fortunately, Tom Lawrence was done about 70 minutes into this game, but somehow saw the 90. But I get he's got the threat, but the boy couldn't actually move, and then we started bypassing him because we no longer gave it to his feet, and he was absolutely blowing. And that takes me to something that I mentioned earlier regarding Hadji. I just didn't understand why he isn't there and being a part of the rotations, because that's when you do the switcheroo and you keep the quality up there. But if you look at some of the subs that we had to make, Troops Rabi came on, had a couple of wee moments, his usual Rabi stuff. Cherny came on, fair enough, he never had the best game or anything like that. But again, dropping boys in when everything's gone wrong, when the mentality's already starting to go, when it's already became a snatchy game, for me, is useless. That's why I think you've got to start the players. Let them get into the game, let them find their feet, bring them on when it's absolute chaos and people are stressing that it's going to be a disappointing draw. Seems to bring a different edge to the game, and he never looked really good, if I'm honest with you. But a couple of wee nice moments, a couple of wee rough moments, not enough. But again, for me, probably should have started. But the one that baffled me the most was no Danilo, because going into the game and skipping over some chances. I mean, Hearts had a couple of opportunities as well, by the way. They were pushing forward, they were trying to create all opportunities, especially on the counter-attack. Barry Mackay hit one over the bar after Ben Davies played him through. Lawrence Shankland again was heavily involved. There was one when he went down the left-hand side after another defensive mistake. Ran down, hit it into Jack Butland. Butland saves it, it's spinning. It looks like it's gone in, but thankfully he's able to get it. They had their chances, but if you look at the last 10 minutes of that game, whip ball, because again, we had just said, right, Tavernier can't move, just put him up there and have him cross it. He's still better than everybody at crossing it, and we created some opportunities. Dessert had one that he should have got onto, but he jumped too early. There was one that went right to the back post that Rabi does brilliantly to put in to the mixer, but Dessers is like me in a football park, flat-footed. I'm an idiot fan, you know what I mean? He's a professional striker, he should be on his toes and tapping it in, but he's flat-footed, watches it end up clearing. And I thought to myself, now we're in the ascendancy, now we're firing balls into the box, now Hearts are panicking, now it's time to go and get Danilo, put him on the game and see what he's got. He's already scored headers versus Hearts before, but again, we just didn't ever seem to have that fit down kill mentality. The sub that we made was Kieran Dowell on for Connor Barron. Dowell's played less minutes and had less touches than Danilo, so I'm not wanting the injury conversation or anything like that. And for me, it wasn't that sub that I had the biggest problem with. It's Lawrence off, Danilo on. If we're piling everybody forward, if we're whipping balls in a mixer, surely it's better to have 2 strikers on the park rather than a yin that's never won a header in his life, that's just getting bypassed in the game. You know what I mean? I like Clement, but the lack of action and the killer instinct to throw Danilo in there and get an opportunity to get a winner, it just irritates the absolute life out me, but aye, maybe he's not ready. Everyone doesn't ever seem to be ready in a Rangers shirt. Everybody in a Hearts shirt, everybody in a Celtic shirt seems to be ready, but aye, maybe they're not ready. And no ready is my overall thoughts in the game of football. The whistle came, the final whistle came, there was nothing really else in the last minute or two. Diamandi missed a free header in the 70th minute of the game when the cross came in, absolutely spoons it. But apart from that, there was nothing else to really talk about. I don't think I've missed too much. It was maybe an exciting game for the neutral, but I feel like both teams will be disappointed in what they got. Maybe Rangers will be the happier. I feel like Hearts probably could and probably should have won that game with the opportunities they got, but they just never seemed to make the right decision. The Vargas that they had just seemed to be diving, more interested in dying to try and win penalties rather than going in and getting a shot off. He seemed to get in the position and was like, can somebody touch me so I can Tom Daly it out the way? If he cleans that out of his game, he could be a real impact player for Hearts, but he was too busy diving, and aye, we come away with a 0-0 draw. We live to fight another day, if you will, but again, the glaring weaknesses are what's been there all day, and I'm not going to sit here and say I told you so from pre-season, or if that's not what I'm going to do at all. We all knew it. Go and get another centre-half, put Proper into starting 11, and until we get that centre-half, it's Balogun and Proper. There is your two. Balogun showed more than anybody else. Suter did have one good moment in the 67th minute where they nearly countered her from his own set pieces again, but he does really well defensively to stop Vargas, so I'll give him credit for that one. But aye, go and get a defence and just sort out the striking issue. 0-0, it's a damp squid to start, but again, it could be an important point if you want to go. But again, I need to see a wee bit light to the end of that tunnel. No false promises we're going to be better in 3 months. We should be better now. Pre-season was last month. The real football has kicked off. When are we going to start to play it? But that's my thoughts and opinions. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below. And as always, I'll be seeing you very, very soon. Until the next video, take care of yourselves. All the best and bye.